Keanu Reeves never dreamed that a quiet dinner at Bella Rosa's Italian eatery would unravel into an odyssey capable of shaking his world and redefining the boundaries of creativity and freedom. That cool San Francisco evening, candlelight flickered softly over red and white checkered tablecloths, wrapping the family-run restaurant in a warm embrace that hid the chaos lurking just ahead. Across from him sat Ava Monroe, a brilliant engineer with dark curls swept into a simple ponytail, her steady gaze burning with quiet passion. As she unveiled her groundbreaking battery design, one that could store vast energy, slash weight in half, and adapt to existing production lines, Keanu's untouched pasta grew cold. But he didn't care. Her words had already ignited a fire in his artistic soul, pulling him into a vision far beyond the ordinary. Ava spoke with a calm intensity, framing energy as more than fuel for machines. It was a spark for creativity, a catalyst for lives transformed. Rather than merely envisioning electric cars or space missions, Keanu saw art installations pulsing with ambient power, cities blooming as living masterpieces where technology and nature danced in harmony, and a future where innovation was as deeply human as it was practical. Their dialogue wove a tapestry of dreams, each idea blending science with soul, so completely that even the clink of cutlery and the hum of nearby diners faded away. But what about you? Can one conversation really reshape how you see the world? Have you ever had an aha moment that lit up your own path? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And tell me, where are you tuning in from today? If stories of vision and grit inspire you, subscribe to Motivation for Success. We're just getting started. In the midst of a night imbued with possibility and vibrant conversations, an imperceptible darkness began to converge on Keanu's world, one that would unravel the tapestry of his meticulously crafted empire. As ideas and ambitions soared among the warm glow of candlelight and soft murmur of kindred spirits, an unforeseen disruption stealthily emerged from the shadows, threatening to transform a celebratory evening into a harbinger of despair. The spellbinding atmosphere, carefully cultivated to evoke hope and connection, was shattered in an instant when Miguel Rivera, the young waiter entrusted with his family's storied Bella Rosa legacy, approached with the check in hand. In that fleeting moment, as Keanu effortlessly slid his sleek black credit card across the polished table, a gesture emblematic of his accustomed confidence, the payment terminal's unyielding screen blazed a disheartening decline. The incident, initially dismissed as an aberration or a mere fluke, soon revealed its true nature when a second attempt with an alternative card met the same merciless rejection, leaving the once animated room steeped in an oppressive silence. Every eye in the restaurant, previously captivated by the aura of self-assured calm that Keanu had projected, now fixated on him as his veneer of composure began to crumble. His trembling hands fumbled through his wallet in a desperate search for some explanation, and a hastily made call to his assistant, Janet, confirmed what he had scarcely dared to imagine: every account was frozen. In that moment, what had seemed a minor, isolated glitch revealed itself as the calculated prelude to an insidious and orchestrated assault, an attack aimed at dismantling the very foundations of everything he had so painstakingly built. Seeking refuge from the immediate fallout, Keanu and Ava hastily retreated to the confines of his sleek black car, which for a brief interlude offered solace from the mounting chaos. As the vehicle merged onto rain-slicked streets under a heavy, unyielding sky, the gravity of the crisis pressed upon them with an intensity that rivaled the relentless downpour. Outside, the world was rapidly becoming a swirling vortex of digital alarms. Social media erupted with frantic headlines that branded the evening as the moment a titanic figure had faltered, one headline boldly declaring, "Billionaire in crisis, Keanu Reeves' card declined at dinner," while countless others speculated about the presence of a faceless adversary, meticulously targeting a visionary whose innovations had once seemed unassailable. With each passing minute, the media frenzy compounded the sense of isolation and vulnerability, painting Keanu not merely as a man facing financial misfortune, but as a fallen titan besieged by mysterious forces intent on orchestrating his downfall. Later that same night, within the austere confines of his high-tech home office, a sanctuary that normally buzzed with disciplined focus and the quiet hum of progress, Keanu found himself surrounded by a cacophony of incessant phone calls and the insistent blinking of notifications. The room, once a symbol of his relentless drive and strategic genius, now resembled a war room under siege. In rapid succession, board members clamored for emergency meetings, banks demanded urgent explanations, and even the IRS had already dispatched formal notices heralding an impending investigation. His financial empire, once as impenetrable as a fortress built on the twin pillars of innovation and calculated risk, now lay in ruins, its foundations shaken by forces beyond his control. It was in this charged atmosphere of mounting despair that Priya Patel, his steadfast and ever-reliable assistant, delivered the grim news with a palpable tremor in her voice. Every account, both personal and corporate, had been locked down, and the media were already spinning a narrative that cast him as the mastermind behind a sprawling fraud. The shock of her words resonated deeply, each syllable a stark reminder that this was no simple administrative error, but a deliberate, premeditated maneuver designed to strip him of his hard-earned legacy. As the night wore on, Keanu's mind was assaulted by a relentless barrage of disbelief and despair. The realization that he was the target of a sophisticated and deeply personal attack left him reeling, each thought steeped in the bitter taste of betrayal. Every cherished resource he had painstakingly nurtured, every dream he had shared with the world in moments of triumphant hope, now seemed under siege by an unseen enemy. In the reflective solitude of his dimly lit study, memories of that earlier evening at Bella Rosa's began to acquire a profoundly melancholic hue. What had once been a night of inspiration, hope, and the intimate exchange of dreams between him and Ava was now irrevocably tarnished by the realization that the very magic of that encounter had been manipulated into a cruel deception. The gentle flicker of candlelight, the warm cadence of Ava's impassioned explanations, and the shared laughter that had promised a future brimming with potential, all these elements were now imbued with the painful sting of betrayal. A slow, creeping certainty began to take root in Keanu's troubled mind. The entire episode had been orchestrated with the precision of a master tactician, designed to exploit his moment of vulnerability just as he was poised to unveil a breakthrough that had the power to transform countless lives. In that singular, shattering moment, the evening's enchantment dissolved into an abyss of uncertainty and trepidation. The sophisticated facade of success he had cultivated over years was now crumbling under the relentless pressure of an enemy who had struck with both ruthlessness and calculated finesse. As the final echoes of the evening faded into the oppressive silence of the night, Keanu was left to confront a stark and unyielding truth. In a world where trust is the most precious of currencies, even the smallest breach can herald the collapse of empires and the shattering of dreams. As whispers of the incident grew into an uncontrollable roar, the personal crisis that had once been confined to a single moment now erupted into a national scandal, enveloping Keanu in a storm of suspicion and intrigue. The scene, immortalized by a viral video capturing his momentary shock and the silent, anxious glances exchanged with Ava, reverberated through every medium, from the endless scroll of social media to the impromptu discussions in cozy coffee shops and the glaring screens of television news broadcasts. In every retelling, the image of Keanu's stunned expression seemed to deepen the mystery, suggesting not just a fleeting financial error but the unraveling of a carefully constructed facade. Rumors swirled relentlessly, some murmuring that the revered actor was teetering on the brink of financial collapse, while others insisted that a far more ominous hand was at play, one that might involve a clandestine alliance between government entities and powerful rival corporations, determined to sabotage his legacy. Within this whirlwind of speculation, Ava found herself bombarded by a cascade of urgent messages, each ping a reminder that the true story was far more complex than anyone had initially presumed. Among the countless notifications lighting up her phone, a particular string of messages stood out, urging her to meet with a mysterious informant at Golden Gate Park, a locale that balanced the promise of discreet secrecy with the reassuring presence of a public setting. Even as the chaotic currents of media frenzy and public gossip threatened to drown out the truth, Ava's instincts sharpened, guiding her to believe that the decline of Keanu's financial assets was not a mere banking mishap but rather the opening salvo of a sinister conspiracy. The revelation struck her with a profound sense of urgency and personal responsibility, for her revolutionary battery design, a project into which she had poured every ounce of passion and determination, now appeared to be inextricably linked to the unfolding drama. This project, once heralded as a beacon of transformative innovation, had now become a magnet for nefarious forces, its promise overshadowed by the dark cloud of manipulation that threatened to stifle its potential before it could ever change lives. The following afternoon, the gentle ambience of Golden Gate Park provided a striking contrast to the tension that coiled within Ava's chest. Seated on an aged, weathered bench, she absorbed the natural serenity around her, the soft rustle of leaves, the distant murmurs of joggers, and the subtle symphony of birdsong, a quiet interlude that did little to ease the palpable strain of anticipation. Every passing minute stretched out interminably, as if time itself were conspiring to heighten the gravity of the moment. Finally, the figure of a man in his 40s materialized from the dappled sunlight, his presence marked by an unassuming yet dignified air. With hair that had begun to thin and a pair of wire-rimmed glasses that lent him an air of earnest intelligence, he introduced himself simply as Oliver King. His modest suit, neat and unpretentious, belied the weight of the secret he carried, and his voice, low and measured, trembled ever so slightly as he began to divulge a truth that resonated with both urgency and sorrow. Oliver spoke of patterns and transactions so vast and intricate that billions seemed to flow through financial conduits with an almost inexplicable regularity, movements that defied the norms of any conventional system. He confided that his attempts to bring these irregularities to light had been met not with interest but with a cold and deliberate silence, his warnings dismissed by those in positions of authority. The more he spoke, the clearer it became that the financial collapse affecting Keanu was not a spontaneous or isolated incident, but rather the result of a calculated scheme executed by an entity or perhaps a coalition of entities that possessed the power to manipulate the very fabric of the financial system. This revelation, heavy with implications of deliberate sabotage, painted a picture of a force operating from the shadows, its tendrils reaching into the core of modern banking and technological innovation alike. Ava listened intently, her mind racing as she pieced together the fragments of Oliver's testimony with the events that had upended Keanu's world. The gravity of the situation weighed upon her, intensifying her resolve to unearth the truth behind the cascade of events that now threatened not only a man's reputation and empire but also the promise of a groundbreaking invention that could have redefined the future of sustainable energy. As Oliver detailed the clandestine manipulations he had witnessed, Ava's thoughts drifted to the countless hours spent perfecting her battery design, a project imbued with hope, resilience, and the belief that innovation could drive a better tomorrow. Now, that very project was enmeshed in a battle against unseen adversaries, a battle that was as much about personal vindication as it was about the broader struggle for integrity in a world where power and money often dictated the rules. In that quiet, fateful moment at Golden Gate Park, under the veil of an ordinary afternoon, the threads of an elaborate conspiracy began to reveal themselves. Ava recognized that the incident was not simply an isolated misfortune but a carefully orchestrated event designed to undermine trust, expose vulnerabilities, and cast doubt on the legitimacy of those who dared to dream of a brighter future. The encounter with Oliver King crystallized the realization that every public gesture, every private innovation, and every heartfelt ambition was under constant threat in an era where the forces of deception and control lurked just beneath the surface of everyday life. The stage was set not only for a personal reckoning but for a battle that would challenge the very foundations of a system built on trust and progress. Oliver's words carried both warning and regret, hinting at a vast web of automated transactions, secret shell companies, and suspicious transfers converging on one ominous project he called Lazarus. According to him, this project was intricately linked to Ava's battery design, modified in ways that transformed it from a beacon of sustainable innovation into a tool capable of unleashing catastrophic energy surges. "They want your design to serve as a remote switch," he explained, locking eyes with Ava, "a switch that, with the right signal, could take over entire networks, financial systems, power grids, even critical defense infrastructures. The implications were staggering. Ava's heart pounded as she absorbed his words, feeling the shock of betrayal and the weight of responsibility. Her work, once a pure expression of hope for a better future, had been twisted into something dark and dangerous. As Oliver concluded his warning, he added, "They've been watching you, Ava. I've seen evidence you've been followed for weeks. We need to act now." Clutching a folded document, a technical blueprint of her battery design adorned with chilling annotations under the Project Lazarus, she realized she could no longer remain a bystander. The stakes were not merely professional, they cut deep into the very essence of what technology should represent. Back in the labyrinth of his own crisis, Keanu Reeves struggled to regain control of his unraveling world. In the sterile glow of his office, amid the clamor of ringing phones and relentless notifications, he pieced together evidence of a meticulously planned attack, a betrayal orchestrated with ruthless precision. Records compiled by Priya Patel revealed a maze of shell companies and covert networks that pointed to one central figure, Victor Xian, the enigmatic CEO of Helios Innovations. Though Xian exuded calm confidence, the data suggested he was orchestrating financial maneuvers to force Keanu into relinquishing control of the division behind Ava's breakthrough design. As the scandal swelled, media headlines blared, "Billionaire in crisis, Keanu Reeves' card declined at dinner and Reeves' empire in freefall, accounts frozen amid tax fraud scandal." Once hailed as a visionary, Keanu now found himself portrayed as a fallen titan, his every move scrutinized. In a sleek downtown law office, his legal team led by the formidable Maxine Carter convened. With tablets aglow and relentless legal pressures mounting, Maxine delivered the grim update. Records from 3 of his companies had been seized by the FBI, and every account, personal and corporate, was frozen without warning. "This isn't a routine audit," she stated firmly. "It's a coordinated assault, designed to dismantle your legacy from within." Keanu's heart sank as he absorbed the news. Every rival, every shadow from his past, now seemed insignificant compared to the force arrayed against him. In a series of frantic phone calls, his voice, usually calm and measured, rose with raw intensity and sorrow. "Who authorized this freeze?" On one call, a cryptic voice mentioned Lazarus, a name echoing with biblical weight, a promise of resurrection and inevitable downfall. It was as if his enemies planned to seize control of his empire by transforming his innovation into a weapon against him. In the days that followed, as the crisis erupted into a full-blown national scandal, the personal and professional worlds of Keanu and Ava converged. The viral video of his card being declined, capturing every shocked expression and the tender, concerned glances exchanged with Ava, transformed public perception. No longer merely a celebrated actor or entrepreneur, he now stood as a tragic hero ensnared in a web of conspiracy. Rumors of tax evasion, corporate sabotage, and government collusion swirled, deepening the sense of isolation and betrayal that haunted him. Amid this storm, Ava grappled with the fallout of a conspiracy that had twisted her life's work into something unrecognizable. In a modest safe house arranged by the ever-kind Miguel Rivera, whose family had long cared for Bella Rosas, she pored over the confidential blueprint from Oliver. Every altered detail was a painful reminder of how her pure vision had been hijacked. Yet, amid the sorrow and fear, a fierce determination began to take hold. She vowed that her creation would not be exploited by greed. She would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. One stormy night, as rain battered the safe house's windows and the world outside seemed to weep in unison, Keanu and Ava gathered every shred of damning evidence they could find. By the flickering light of a single candle and the steady hum of an old computer, they combed through countless documents, financial records, secret emails, cryptic annotations, all painting a picture of systematic, calculated betrayal. Every piece pointed to Victor Xian, yet the deeper they delved, the more it became clear that Xian was but a pawn in a larger game, an intricate plan orchestrated by shadowy forces with ambitions that reached into national security and global surveillance. In that moment of revelation, Keanu, normally the epitome of calm resilience, allowed himself a rare moment of raw vulnerability. "I built my career on the belief that art and technology could elevate the human spirit," he said softly, his voice thick with emotion. "But now, every step forward feels like a betrayal that cuts to the core of who I am." Ava, her eyes glistening with unshed tears yet burning with determined resolve, reached out and squeezed his hand. "We won't let them win," she vowed. "Our work, our dreams, they belong to all of us. We will expose this conspiracy and reclaim what is rightfully ours." As dawn broke over San Francisco, the stakes had never been higher. Across town, Agents Webb and Chen combed through mountains of evidence, tracing every digital footprint and following every shadowy lead with relentless determination. Their investigation revealed a labyrinth of shell companies and covert transactions linking directly to Helios Innovations and Victor Xian. Despite mounting challenges, their resolve remained unshaken. In a series of secret meetings, Keanu's legal team, along with his trusted allies, formulated a bold plan to challenge the freeze on his assets. In a modest downtown conference room, Maxine Carter declared, "We have the evidence. We know this freeze was executed without legal warrant, and we will expose the hidden network behind it." Keanu listened, his eyes reflecting determination and deep sorrow for the betrayal he'd endured. Every enemy he had ever faced now seemed insignificant compared to the force that sought to strip him of his legacy. Meanwhile, Ava and her team delved into the origins of the modifications in her battery design. What was once an elegant solution for sustainable energy had been re-engineered to unleash sudden, overwhelming bursts capable of plunging cities into darkness or powering a global surveillance network. In quiet reflection, Ava recalled her early lab days, when her dreams were untainted by greed. Now, her work was at the heart of a conspiracy threatening to give its controller absolute power over modern society. Determined to fight back, Keanu abandoned the safety of his mansion. Disguised in a worn hoodie and scuffed sneakers so different from his polished public image, he stepped into the night. With a backpack of essential supplies and an unyielding resolve, he navigated rain-soaked streets, evading watchful eyes. His journey led him to an abandoned gas station along Highway 1, where, under the relentless patter of rain, he waited with a mix of apprehension and resolve. Soon, headlights cut through the gloom, and a battered pickup truck pulled up. The driver, a pragmatic woman in her 50s with silver streaked hair, commanded, "Get in and take off your shoes." Keanu complied immediately. As the woman inspected his footwear, the discovery of a tiny tracking device confirmed his worst fears. He had been followed, his every step monitored. The betrayal stung deeply, yet it only fueled his determination. Together, they navigated winding mountain roads until they reached a secluded cabin nestled among towering redwoods, a sanctuary free from modern surveillance, where the scent of pine mingled with hope. In that rustic haven, bathed in candlelight and the steady hum of old computers, Keanu and his allies gathered to strategize their next move. Every whispered conversation and every document reaffirmed what they already knew: Victor Xian and his shadowy network had engineered this coup, using the very technology Keanu had championed as a weapon against him. In that safe space, the air was thick with both despair and hope. Keanu's eyes, usually so resolute and enigmatic, shimmered with raw emotion as he spoke quietly, "I built my life on the belief that art and technology could elevate the human spirit. But now, every step forward feels like a betrayal that cuts to the core of who I am." Ava squeezed his hand, her voice trembling with determination, "We won't let them steal our future. Our work, our vision, it belongs to the people. We must expose this conspiracy, no matter the cost." Across town in Oakland, a small circle of trusted allies, Ava, Oliver King, Professor Green, and Jordan Black, a rugged ex-military strategist gathered in a modest living room. They spread out maps, financial charts, and blueprints on a battered table, scrutinizing every red-marked note and cryptic annotation that pointed to secret facilities covertly transformed into high-tech production centers. Their findings were as astonishing as they were ominous. Ava's battery technology was poised to become the keystone of a global surveillance network, a network that, with a single signal, could seize control of entire cities. The term Lazarus echoed ominously among them, a name promising both resurrection and ruin. The gravity of their task was palpable. To expose such a vast conspiracy meant pitting themselves against forces with unimaginable reach, forces that would silence anyone daring to speak the truth. Yet, united by a shared purpose and the unyielding conviction that truth must prevail, they resolved to move forward, regardless of the risks. As the scandal intensified, Keanu's once untouchable image transformed into that of a vulnerable hero, a man whose resilience and quiet dignity shone through even as his empire crumbled. The viral video of his card being declined, capturing every shocked expression and the tender, concerned glances exchanged with Ava, became a symbol of the personal cost of betrayal. Rumors and wild theories swirled, yet through it all, Keanu's determination never wavered. He vowed to clear his name, to unmask the true masterminds behind the onslaught, and to reclaim not only his legacy but the very ideals that had once inspired him. In a daring press conference at the Embaradero Center parking garage, Keanu, Ava, and their closest allies stepped into the harsh glare of public scrutiny. In a room filled with a small yet resolute assembly of reporters, law enforcement officials, and insiders hungry for truth, Keanu's voice rang out steady, imbued with sorrow and fierce determination as he recounted the events from that fateful dinner to the labyrinthine financial maneuvers that froze his accounts. Beside him, Ava spoke with quiet passion about how her battery design had been twisted into a weapon capable of disabling entire systems. Their words, raw and honest, resonated with an audience desperate for accountability in a world shrouded in corporate secrecy. In the days that followed, as legal battles raged and investigations deepened, Keanu and his allies faced relentless surveillance and covert threats. Anonymous messages urged them to back down, shadowy figures lurked at every turn. Yet each new challenge only reinforced their resolve. What began as a simple glitch had grown into a global struggle, a fight for the very soul of innovation and the freedom to dream without fear. And so, as the dust finally began to settle, Keanu Reeves stood before a sea of faces, both on screen and in the hearts of those who had followed his journey. In the quiet aftermath of betrayal and relentless adversity, he shared a message that was as raw as it was hopeful. Tonight, we learned that even the strongest foundations can be shaken by greed and deception, he said, his voice soft yet resolute. But what truly defines us is not the fall, but the strength we muster to rise again. His words resonated deeply, a stirring reminder that the power of innovation is inseparable from the courage to overcome obstacles. Ava, standing resolutely by his side, added, "Our dreams, our work, belong to all of us. When darkness threatens to snuff out the light of progress, it is our duty to reclaim it together. Every challenge is a call to action, a chance to rebuild and renew the promise of a better tomorrow." Now, I invite you to reflect on your own journey. Have you ever experienced a moment when everything seemed to crumble, only to discover an unexpected strength within you? How did that moment reshape your life? Please share your stories of resilience and triumph in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If these tales of grit, passion, and the relentless pursuit of truth inspire you, be sure to subscribe to the Motivation for Success channel. Here, we explore stories that challenge us to dream bigger, fight harder, and never settle for less than what our hearts truly desire. Thank you for being a part of this journey today. I can't wait to share more compelling stories with you in the next video. Until then, keep believing, keep striving, and remember, the power to change your destiny lies within you.